Hello, and welcome to my channel. Let me ask you something. When you think of autism, what do you think about? What are some of the attributes that you think of? Is it self-awareness, empathy and compassion, feeling an interconnectedness, a drive to help heal the world or awaken it? I would think probably not. These are characteristics of a spiritual awakening. And I am a spiritually awakened autistic. And that's what this channel is going to be about. My journey on not only becoming spiritually awakened, but finding out that I am a late diagnosed autistic. And this is quite a contradiction. I've always had some sort of awareness, at least in the terms of I'm not the center of the world. And I've always had a great amount of empathy and compassion. However, my emotions often ruled me. You see, when I was young, I was diagnosed as being bipolar. But it never seemed to fit. All the medicines that I was prescribed because they just stopped working, or I never felt like myself, or the diagnosis just didn't seem to add up. I was in special education through all of my formative years. And I was tested for both autism and ADD. Now, back in the 80s, the testing was way different. And they didn't take girls to be autistic unless you were a level 3. I never socialized well with others. Matter of fact, on my grammar school report card, it even stated I did not play well with others. However, I was so good at school. I always did my classwork dutifully. And I always got along with my teachers. But my peers, on the other hand, well, I was always different. I never fit in. I always felt like things just didn't make sense to me. I understood so much on an academic level, but socially, I was so inept. I tried. And matter of fact, as what is common with most girls, we begin to mask. And so that's what I started doing to fit in. I started masking. Now back then, I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what masking was. But I would observe acquaintances and the popular kids and all the books that I read and the movies that I saw. I would study these, not on a conscious level, but on a very subconscious level, so that maybe I could find my place. I also went through a lot of trauma, as many of us do in our childhood years. So I acted out a lot. I had meltdowns. But back then, I didn't know what they were. So I was just labeled a troubled child. I didn't know how to regulate my nervous system. So I ran away a lot. I always came back, but I didn't have an outlet to help regulate both my emotions and just the physical energy that comes with being ADHD and autistic. In my teen years, it was such an upheaval. And looking back, I am actually so grateful that I went through what I went through. I wouldn't change a thing, because it has all led me to where I am right here, right now. A couple years ago, I got the chance to be tested for autism and ADHD again, because I just knew something just didn't add up. The way that I think, how I present myself, how I relate to others. I knew that I was just different. And I wasn't going to get a diagnosis just to, wave it around as a label. I actually don't like labels. I think they limit us. But it's good to know why you do what you do in order to heal yourself and become who you truly are. So when I got the paperwork back and my diagnosis with a level 1 autism and ADHD, it confirmed what I already knew. And then, shortly after that, I had a lot of health issues. And I went through some big changes in my life. And that led to a pretty intense spiritual awakening. Now, when it was happening, I didn't know what was going on. I had never heard of spiritual awakenings before. I had always been spiritual. Matter of fact, I grew up in kind of a religious home. But I never bought into religion. And in my 20s, when I was in college, I explored a lot of different spiritualities and a lot of different concepts. And I've always had a belief that there was something greater than me, that there was a purpose. I didn't know what that was. It was just a knowing. And I knew I was put on this planet for a reason. Now, the funny thing is, I had tried to end my life many times because I just didn't feel I belonged, and nobody wanted me. And no matter how hard I tried, I always ended up back here. And I'm so blessed that I was, because here I am today sharing with you. So, a couple years ago, I was on a walk about 9, 10 at night in the middle of winter. The sky above me was crystal clear, and I saw all the stars, and I just felt this knowing that I did belong, that I was a part of something so much bigger than myself. And then the dark night of the soul. One of a couple dark nights of the soul. And I started understanding what I was feeling and going through. This feeling of there's so much more, that I'm so much more, that I am not limited by a label, that I have so much love in me, and that I am love. So with that, I understood that even though I was diagnosed autistic, ADHD, I was not going to let that limit me. And here I am. I hope this gives you hope to know that whatever you're diagnosed with, it's just a way for society to say, hey, look, this is where you belong now. But it actually doesn't matter, because what's inside matters. So until the next time, I hope this finds you well, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, and many blessings to you.